Alright, last part. The last wing. And how funny is it that we are now getting to do LFR Zoval on the day that we get revealed the new expansion that will be following this, Dragonflight! Happy Dragonflight Reveal Day, everyone! I'm excited. I love dragons, so let's just say the stuff that they announced, I'm very excited about. Okay. There he is. By the way, I now have all 4 tier pieces.
Can your mortal minds fathom how long I have waited? Every event set in motion, every pawn put into play, all to claim power slumbering within your world. The soul of Azeroth, wounded, vulnerable, yet teeming with potential. Potential that I will use to eradicate this flawed reality. Death claims the soul of your world. Now, bear witness, mortals, to eternity's end. I will claim your failure was...
Of course, no one wanted to watch. So, for the record, and look, we already had somebody die, probably because they were watching and, oh, look at that, they died because someone decided to pull and was not patient. So, for full context, this is my first time against Zoval here, because we have yet to even pull Jailer in progress, in normal. We've been focusing on all the other bosses to try and get tier pieces and such before we even try to learn this boss. So I haven't even done this boss on normal, so...
Find shelter.
My guild did, however, the other night, for the first time, get, excuse me.
Domination.
Ah! That was my bad. I was slowed. Or rather, I was slow. I'm sorry.
Target you. 4.
Oh.
2. Jump in pit.
Whoops. This is my inexperience with this fight. First time I've done this fight, and I'm just like, what do I do? At least DBM is kind of letting me know, but the timing's obviously off. So yeah, I'm basically trying to say this, with this being my first time in this fight, you know, I can watch the vids and such, but anyone can tell you, actually, like, you know, watching vids on the fight as opposed to actually doing the fight are 2 completely different things.
Find shelter.
Dominates all. Cannot withstand my power. To ruin.
Looks like somebody already left.
Break.
Target you. 4. 3. 2. Jump in pit. Martyrdom.
Cannot withstand.
Okay, I think I did that right.
Find shelter.
The first ones is now mine to wield.
Phase 2. Knocking back.
Extermination.
Shattering.
By the way, yes, I can have that weapon drop. I wouldn't mind that dropping. It's not going to be a higher level than my current weapon, but from what I've heard, the effect or the ability of that weapon is really good. I don't know how good it is for the LFR version compared to the others. Keep in mind, this is the first day that LFR Jailer is up, so I doubt anyone has actually tested to see how strong the LFR version of that weapon is. We'll see.
Shattering blast.
So unlike the other fights, even in the previous part, you know, where we did Anduin, Rygalon, and Lords of Dread, which I now have done the normal version of, by the way. By the way, if I sound a little different, I've been fighting allergies, so forgive me if I sound a little strange. You know, allergies. You know, it's been a rough past several days. This past weekend.
Spread.
Not entirely better. I'm getting there. You know, I wouldn't be recording if I wasn't, honestly. Is that straight up like the mechanic from Lich King, where it was like, hey, walk off the edge? Oh wait, no, that was the Valkyr carried you. I feel like there was a boss fight where you got mind controlled and they were like, hey, jump off the edge. I can't remember what fight though, but I feel like I've seen that mechanic before. But it makes sense, doesn't it? That he would be like, hey, I'm going to control your mind and I want you to go walk off the edge and die. And you're like, okay. Because I'm mind controlled, you know, so.
Shattering blast.
Reality crumbles.
I think we are missing a mechanic where it's like, hey, you need to do this thing with this Azerite stuff in order to help Azeroth.
Shattering blast.
Obviously, you gotta expect some mechanics are just simply not gonna be here.
Unholy attunement.
Watch your step.
I'll bet those do a lot more damage on normal than they do here in LFR. That's my guess.
Phase 3.
Uncounted ages,
Oh.
I plotted to break this flawed cycle, to forge a new cosmos,
Ah.
dominated under my will. The soul of your world defies me. No matter, it cannot save you.
Spread.
Rupture.
Watch your step. Knocking back.
Decimation.
Danger, danger.
What you touch is defiant.
Ah, Defile.
Chains of anguish.
Remember that from the Lich King? Do we have to separate for Chains of Anguish?
Chains of anguish.
Okay, yeah. Spread apart in order to break the chains.
Chains of anguish.
There you go.
Spread. Watch your step. Danger, danger.
Existence is a blight upon the cosmos.
Knocking back.
Extermination.
Chains of anguish. Chains of anguish.
I'm not entirely focused right now on doing the DPS that I probably should be, because well, let's just say I'm trying to pay attention to mechanics. Because if there was one thing I heard people saying during the Race to World First was that it didn't matter how well geared you were, this was a very mechanically focused fight. So you absolutely had to be focused on your mechanics. No matter how good your gear was.
Chains of Anguish.
I will say, though, I have been steadily growing on that DPS meter. But then again, I have two 291 Legos and all 4 tier pieces, so I probably should be doing a lot more. I'm just kind of like looking for more, mechanics to focus on and pay attention to.
Watch your feet. Watch your step. Nothing back.
Oh boy.
Chains of Anguish.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Chains of Anguish.
Okay, so that killed me. Oh, man, so because I didn't have the bomb, it didn't send me back up. I forgot that if those are open and you don't have the bomb, you just fall through to your death. Whoops.
Rupture.
Danger,
Your
danger.
existence is a blight upon the cosmos.
Nothing back.
Extermination.
Chains of Anguish.
Rupture.
Danger,
Your
danger.
existence is a blight upon the cosmos. Rupture.
Nothing back.
Extermination.
Chains of
You are
Anguish.
shackled to failure.
Chains of Anguish.
Will be made to serve.
Danger,
All that
danger.
you touch is defiled. Rupture.
Nothing back.
Decimation.
Chains of Anguish.
Must not be.
You have betrayed your duty as Arbiter, and shall be bound forevermore. Your madness has threatened the cycle of life and death entire.
You could have sought another way, brother. Imagine what we could have accomplished together.
Why, Zovar? What drove you to this end? You preserve that which is doomed. A cosmos divided will not survive. What is to come?
This is what he was the entire time. Well, I don't know about you, but looking at that makes me kind of glad that we are officially closing the book. That sound kind of emulating the idea of, imagine if we were reading this and we shut the book. We close it on this chapter of the story. And look forward and never look back on this because, well, I shared my unhappiness with this, and that I still don't like this. You know, I could be okay with this, that it was like revealed that he was this the whole time and there's some interesting backstory behind it, if they didn't still play up that this was the guy behind everything. All the stuff that happened in Warcraft up at the past, almost 20 years, that it was all from this guy, that it was all his plan, his plot. He did all of this. I'm just not fond of that. But it's over. It's time for us to officially close the book on that part of the story. So, that wasn't that bad. Honestly, that didn't seem that bad. Like, the only thing that looks like to deal with for LFR Zoval is getting behind the pillars for the mind control, spreading out for that AoE. If you get the bomb, go and drop into the hole, so that way you kind of get rid of the bomb and send yourself back up. And that was basically it. Like, I didn't really see what was we had to do to affect the Azeroth health. It looked like it just stayed the same, like it barely moved, and it didn't seem to be affected by anything we were doing or not. So, I'm not really sure if there was anything we were supposed to do there. So, that was pretty easy in comparison. I'm never going to forget LFR N'Zoth. That's one I'm never going to forget. You guys saw it. I have it on camera for you guys to look back on. Go back to my BFA playthrough, or rather, I guess the regular playthrough I was doing with my shaman, and you'll see the part right for, like, what was it, 2 hours, 2.5 hours we spent on LFR N'Zoth. Yeah. Whereas this one, not so bad. Not so bad at all. So, yeah. So, this could be the final part of this playthrough, but really, from what I understand, there may still be a bit more to show. For example, I may do a follow-up at the end of the campaign with my Alliance character to see the Alliance differences, show that to you guys. As I mentioned, there's supposed to be another conversation that I haven't found yet, which I think could be in 9.2.5. Like I said, there could be some more story stuff that happens in 9.2.5 as a lead-in to Dragonflight. Who knows? We'll see. Obviously, I'll try to cover that stuff as more gets added and revealed. I've already opted in for the beta to check that stuff out. I'll have to figure out if when we do a playthrough of Dragonflight, if the Evoker class is going to be our main for that expansion. I don't know. It's possible. Historically, when a new class is added, they're usually pretty strong. I don't know how strong the Evoker class is actually going to be. It'll be interesting. It's going to be fun having a third class finally added that uses mail armor. Thank you, Blizz. All the shamans and hunters are like, oh my gosh, finally another class we can share gear with. Man. As a shaman or a hunter, it was getting at times like, oh my gosh, I can only look for another hunter or shaman to do this with. Now you can actually look for evokers. It's great. Ranged DPS or healer, that's going to be interesting. I'm obviously going to show you the starting zone that they have for that when it comes out. I'll definitely be doing stuff covering the Drakthir and the Evoker class and the starting zone and such, stuff that I can when it comes to the story. It's possible I may do two separate for that. One as a Drakthir and one as another class, one of the other characters I have, it really kind of depends on how much the difference is. It's kind of like how in Legion, the starting experience for Legion for your Demon Hunter was different compared to the other Alliance or Horde characters because they were doing the Broken Shore event while the Demon Hunters were breaking out of the Vault of the Wardens. So it was two separate starting experiences. Like the Drakthir will probably end up just starting off there compared to regular Alliance or Horde characters which will be sailing there on their ships and such. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm very much looking forward to see how they handle that. Yeah. The whole dragon riding thing, that seems really fun, partly because the customizable dragon mount thing, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I get to customize my own personal dragon mount. And I've let it be known how much I love dragon mounts. And I love that it seems like you can choose to have them either be a proto-drake, a drake type of animal like what we saw in BFA, a regular dragon like, you know, you've got the proto-drake right there, you just saw, the iron one. Let me pull up an example of what I was talking about. What was that one called from... No. Hold on. There was a mount you could get... Yeah, these pterodaxes. So it looked like you could actually make a dragon mount that looks kind of like a pterodax if you want them to look like this kind of like model here, which is not just for the pterodaxes. This was also for the mount that you could get in Warlords for collecting all that stuff, which I don't think I ever finished, but it's also kind of looks like that world boss in Warlords that drops that that particular mount. So you could have them look like this. You could have them look like a proto-drake. You could have them look like a regular drake, kind of like my Vanquisher here, which I usually do prefer the idea that they have their 4 separate arms and then they have the wings, as opposed to having their wings attached to their front arms, which can, to me, I would think that would cause issues. But, yeah, a number of things. I am curious about the talent system. Obviously, I don't necessarily have first-hand experience from how that used to be back in the day with the way the talents were with the trees, since I got introduced to this game late, and the talent system we've had since Mists of Pandaria is the only talent system I've really been familiar with and have known, even though I did take a look at it in Classic. But it's going to be very interesting. Also, I'm really glad that they decided, let's go ahead and try to improve upon the UI, because, yeah, I will admit, I don't have a giant monitor like other people do, or play on multiple monitors. I've seen people with setups with like 2 or 3 monitors just spread out across their desks here for everything you see on this screen. And yeah, I will admit that even though I can have like my health bar down here below me, you know, having it up here with this stuff down here and then all stuff over here, having it kind of like down here, like for ELVUI or whatever it is, it's something I've wanted to actually adapt. I just never really learned how. I kind of would have wanted someone who is familiar with it to teach me how to properly set it up so I don't make mistakes or, you know, mess things up. Plus, I also like being able to have the option that if I don't have, you know, because a lot of people will, you'll notice some of these are not bound to a key because I unbound them in order to put them here on my hotbars. So, you know, or for something else. So I like being able to still, you know, have the option to click on these buttons here. If I want to go to, say, the achievements, I can still click on this. But on that add-on, it kind of takes them away, and I would have to rely on pressing a button, which I may already have bound to something else. So I like the idea that they're going to try and work on that themselves. So that it's going to make it easier for everybody going forward, and you can still be able to customize it and such. So anyways, still dealing with these allergies. I gotta have a drink, blow my nose, and all that. So that was LFR Zoval, ladies and gentlemen. So any other interesting story content? Chandris is like, really? You're gonna stand right next to me as you're doing all this? Oh, that reminds me, I have to get my druid back to the mage tower to work on getting that right there. Also, let's go ahead and turn this in since we did do this. At long last, our campaign is at an end. Thanks to you, the jailer has been defeated. Your efforts have saved us all.
Fight for Azeroth.
That's a lot. Oh, I also got this trinket I didn't even realize. Scars of Fraternal Strife. Affix a domination rune to yourself, gaining power at a price. Interesting. Wonder what that means. Let's go ahead and swap this out for a moment. The first rune, your haste is increased by 77. 10% of damage you take will echo again 3 seconds later. Huh. Interesting. So if I use it again, I get another rune. Versatility increased by 77. All healing that you take is reduced by 5%. That's interesting. I wonder how strong that is for DKs. I'm going to go ahead and put this back. But, huh. And put that back.
You here for inspection?
I'll have to take a look and see how strong that is. Also, note that doing that quest got you 1,000 Enlightened rep. So if you are still working on getting your rep to Revered so you can be able to acquire the Unity power here, now you can be able to actually have the chance to get a chunk more rep to get closer to that point so you can unlock that, get another 291 Legendary equipped. So, yeah. Also, that's a lot of anima, which this character really has no use for, but I can go ahead and send to other characters, which is something I'm probably going to need to do, help get them situated. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, and I don't know what's going to be next up for this playthrough. Whenever the next bit of story content comes up, we shall see. Stay tuned.